week of campaigning and deal-making is beginning in France ahead of a second round of parliament.
Here, now that we're done with like America's dying democracy, let's talk about France real quick.
Parliamentary elections next weekend. It comes after the far-right National Rally Party emerged from Sunday's first round in a comfortable first place, with just over 33% of the vote. President Macron, whose alliance trailed in third place on around 20%, has responded by calling for centrist and left-wing parties to unite to prevent the far-right from winning control of Parliament. From Paris, here's Andrew Harding.
A dramatic win yesterday for France's National Rally. The party was for years considered too extreme for most French voters, with its anti-immigration, Eurosceptic platform and its links to the Kremlin. But last night, the RN, as it's known here, secured more than a third of all votes. The party's leader is Marine Le Pen, who has her...
What the fuck's going on with the EU first, Italy, now France, fall to fascism, austerity, baby. You put like a couple decades of austerity, every euro is going to start treating every fucking migrant like they're Roma. You know? That's what's going on. That's it. Neoliberalism. It's fucking awesome. It's so sick. What's going on in the EU is identical to what's going on in America. Okay? You got a bunch of people who are like, man, shit is expensive, dude. And then you got one side that's going, you know why shit's expensive? Because black people and brown people. That's why shit's expensive. Don't care to follow up on that. I'm just going to say, what? Don't we hate black people and brown people? And then the guys are like, you know what? I do actually. You're right. And that's how you have these fucking parties. Okay? Blowing up. And then the other side is like, yeah, you know what? Things are fine. Things are expensive. Okay, well, it is what it is. It is what it is. I mean, don't worry about it. Also, we've decided to privatize the railroads. You're like, wait, what? You decided to privatize? Yeah, now the railroads are actually privatized. And also, it'll be cheaper for a little bit, but then it's going to get really expensive. Also, it's going to be much worse now. And you're like, what? But everything is so expensive. I can't go to work. Why are you fucking up my public transit? Like, why are you doing this? And it's like, well, because, you know, private corporations wanted to make money off of it. It's much better that way. Shut the fuck up. Also, here's a carbon tax or, you know, here's an extra tax. Also, we're raising the fucking retirement age. Not for police, though, because they're going to be defending us while you guys are rioting. And it's like, wait, what? You're raising the retirement age, but everything's expensive. Shut the fuck up. We're raising the retirement age. Also, we've decided we hate immigrants too. Don't you hate the immigrants? And at that point, they're like, yeah, we do hate the immigrants. Now you're saying you hate the immigrants, but you're also fucking like adding additional unnecessary gas taxes or raising the retirement age. I'm going to go with the fuck immigrants party instead. I'm not going to go with you. Fuck you. And that's how you arrive at Le Pen. Okay? That's it. That's how you arrive at Le Pen. All she had to do was basically go, yeah, my bad that my dad was a Nazi and I defended him viciously and vociferously. I am no longer as much of a Nazi. Like, sure, Jews control the media, whatever. It's fine. Okay? It's cool. I don't think Jews control the media as much anymore. Also, I love Israel. Vote for me. Fuck immigrants. And that's how, yeah, that's what happened. That's basically, I just gave you the exact, albeit reductive ways in which Marine Le Pen was able to retriangulate and make herself seem more moderate, but still very much the anti-Islam, anti-immigrant party, and how Macron basically tried to fucking capitulate to that, and also present himself as like an anti-Muslim, anti-immigrant guy.
On winning the French presidency next.
Les Français ont ainsi, dans un vote sans ambiguïté, témoigné.
She told the country it had nothing to fear from a right-wing RN-led government.
Et de la concorde nationale.
But there is a second round of voting here next weekend, and things could still change. After yesterday's vote, President Emmanuel...
By the way, turnout is up 7%. And a lot of young people are voting on both sides, unfortunately. For the record. By that, I mean a lot of young people are voting for the New Popular Front, and a lot of young people are also voting for Le Pen as well.
Macron called for centrist and left-wing parties to form a united front to keep the RN out of power. Will it work? It's going to be a struggle. And all this in the middle of Paris's preparations for the Olympic Games later this month. Many French are worried about their country's deep political polarisation. The road ahead will become clearer in a week's time, when a second round of voting will determine France's future.
48% of 18 and 24 are voting left, but the far right is doing 30% in all ages.
That could be months of political deadlock. It could be a...
It's not about a left-wing majority. It's about stopping a far-right majority. Yeah, I wish. Macron is trying to kill the radical left, France, in insoumise, but the left coalition is fucking up his plan. Yes. I think in the last election, the left was infighting, or I mean the left was infighting, which led to Mélenchon not winning. And I don't know if he thought that would be a repeat, but seemingly they're not.
Seismic political shift to the hard right, with huge implications for the country and the continent. Andrew Harding, BBC News, Paris.
The same noises this time round. You heard Macron there calling for a front to confront and take on and defeat the RN candidates in each of the constituencies where they're through to the second round. So yes, and there is certainly a determination on the part of the left to do this. They've promised that their candidates will stand down if they're in third place in a constituency in order to concentrate the vote.
Dude, why are you always effing? Because I'm fucking your mother, okay? In the pussy. Take a week off, dipshit. God damn it, dude. You know I'm effing. I'm in Croatia, dude. What do you want me to fucking do? I have no control over the goddamn internet here.
The RN candidate, it could make a big difference. The left did very well in this election. They got 28% of the vote. Their forces are traditionally very, very fired up against the National Rally. So if there is a big turnout by people voting on the centre and the left to stop the National Rally, that could well limit the extent of their gains in this election. But gains there will certainly be for the RN in this election. And the key question really is...
Why are you even streaming on vacation? Go to a fucking beach, man? Bro, what beach? It's literally 12 a.m. here. Okay, which reminds me, at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. Like, what am I supposed to do, man? I was at the beach all day. Why do you hate lefties in the PSL? Like, unsub chatters hate ad break. Okay, I already ran the ad break.
Not if they win, but by how much. If they can't get this point of 289 seats, that's an absolute majority in Parliament, they'll be left incapable of governing, and then we are really in unknown territory.
And Hugh, where does this all leave President Macron? Because this was a huge gamble for him to call for this snap election.
Enfeebled, solitary, isolated, embarrassed, all those things. You're right, he promised to return France to the centre, to be a kind of form a bastion against the extremes of far right and far left. What's happened is that the country has become polarised. We have a far right that is not far from gaining power, and a left coalition which is dominated by the far left party, the LFI. So,
explain to me why the far left is bad, please. Like, I can tell you with many words why the far right is bad, but I want to always, BBC and all these fucking European broadcasters always just leave it hanging. Well, the far left and the far right are the same. It's extremes on both sides. It's like, what is it? Why? Tell me why the far right is bad. Okay. Anti-immigration stance, ridiculously violent rhetoric. Why is the fucking far left bad? Explain. Why is this so extreme? What are they doing that's so extreme? What the fuck are they advocating for that you consider to be unimaginable, a threat to democracy akin to the far right?
Whatever it is that he planned to do, it hasn't happened. And the immediate prospect for France is one in which he himself is a very diminished figure with very little influence inside the country and a diminished profile outside the country. And inside the country, we have a far right, which may well form the next government, or deadlock in Parliament leading to, well, more crisis.
Yes, and you mentioned there the polarization within French society between the far right and the far left. How has this come about?
Well, partly it's because of what Macron has done. But Macron produced himself, or sort of represented himself as being the great centre, the hyper centre, the man who would unite France, because...
Yeah, no, definitely. He did unite France. He did do that against him, but he did do that. LFI isn't even far left. I know, dude. I'm just saying, I want to hear what they have to say. Why is it far left? And what is so bad about far left? That's what I want to know. Because they never actually fucking mention it. I listen to these reporters all the time. I listen to DW. I listen to France 24. I listen to the BBC. I have yet to hear why the supposed far left is so far to the left, and what the fuck they're advocating for that you consider to be absolutely unacceptable.
Around him would come sensible men and women of the centre left and the centre right, and that would be the obvious and logical solution to the country's problems.
And if you say fucking they support Palestinians, okay, yeah. Because that's usually what it is, always. It's like, oh, the far left supports Palestinian emancipation. They consider Palestinians to be human beings, and that, of course, is anti-Semitic, which we're talking about France, okay? Anti-Semitism is literally not a burden in French politics, except the problem here is that they're humanizing Muslims. That is a burden. That is considered extreme. The notion that, like, oh, these guys are anti-Semitic, like, yeah, you want them to win more votes? Is that why you're saying they're anti-Semitic?
The only thing was that in the natural course of events, there was going to be an opposition to that. And as he'd hogged the centre ground, the opposition inevitably has come from what he calls the extreme right and the extreme left. And that's what's happened. But of course, it's replicated in other countries. It's a polarization that's also cultural, linked to the rise of a left liberal metropolitan class and its rejection by, put it bluntly, poor white people living in the provinces.
And if as expected, Hugh, the National Rally does form the next government in France, what kind of policies could it introduce? Would it be very different from President Macron's party?
Well, first of all, let me just qualify that. We can't assume there will be a National Rally government in the next after next Sunday. If they don't get this total majority, they will be incapable of forming a government, and there's a lot of talk of then forming there'll be some kind of technocratic government, like what Italy had with Draghi. So let's not assume that the National Rally are going to form the next government. But if they do, well, we know what their policies are. They are to make immigration more difficult, to make life less attractive for people who would like to come and settle here. It's to make handout state benefits available primarily for people of French nationality. And on the kind of social economic front, it's to increase people's buying power by cutting VAT on fuel and things like that, things that are going to cost an awful lot of money, reducing again the age of retirement. Whether or not in practice these things are practical is another matter, but that's what's on their manifesto.
Yeah, no, that's right. The far left is extreme because they want to reduce the age of retirement. Is that what he just said? Did I hear that right? As in, like, the thing that the entire country united and, like, lit the country on fire for approximately months on end, which played a role in, which basically was like the last nail in the coffin for Macron. Really? That's, wow, how radical these fucking communist monsters want to reduce the retirement age again. These fucking monstrous pieces of shit. Probably the... What? Oh, no, he said the right was doing it? Oh. even then, what a ridiculous thing to fucking say. I thought he was talking about fucking the new Popular Front. If Le Pen wins, it'll be really funny. I don't think it'll be funny. I think it's just, you know, all you need is the AFD at that point. You got Vichy France, you got fascists in Italy, and all that remains is Germany going to the AFD, and then it's over. It's just 1930s again.